benevolence, love. It created us all. This is our flow, our energy. We vibrate. We envision. We experience. I am David Dimitri, DUAT Asaru, here to manifest, because time is short. To manifest a lesson, a blessing, some realizations that you can have the opportunity. I know with social media and with the attention span being literally to 3 seconds, if I don't have your attention in 3 seconds, I don't keep you. If I don't have something that you relate with that is more important to you, and that you in your short period of time in your day that you want to go through your social media and Instagram and Facebook and your Twitter and your YouTube to see videos and be enthused, us as attention addicts, receiving and giving attention, as receiving and giving attention, receiving and giving attention. We don't ponder like we used to. We don't realize or value those that ponder, or realize we want quick Facebook posts and Instagram posts, and nothing's wrong with Facebook or social media. Is wonderful. Nothing's wrong with Instagram. Nothing's wrong with your behavior. Yet we still don't give attention and opportunity. But I want to discuss the DUAT. The DUAT is the name of what the Kemetic call the current reality of polarization, the reality of dualism, the reality of ebb and flow, the reality of yin and yang, the reality of what goes up comes down, the reality of what goes around comes around, the reality of light and dark, the reality of white and black, right and wrong, love and hate. We have to discuss this duality we live in, this DUAT, and how the pendulum swings, and how it affects other matters, of which I will discuss right now, because it's vitally important. Because in this DUAT, we don't know when our last breath will be taken. We don't know when life will be stopped, and when we won't have the opportunity to do anything. When we will only be remembered by the few that we influence. But I want to influence many of you to realize your worth and the value of this reality, to know that you're not alone, and that you have great things to achieve, and that, yes, because of this DUAT, there's not just peace, there's war. And that's why we must discuss this DUAT, because we're coming into World War III. We're coming into economic crash, not just economic and social peace, but social mayhem and chaos. We're in a time of entropy, of change. February 2017, Donald Trump here in this United States of America. I'm in San Bernardino, California. There is violence and crime, harm being brought to others by their own children, by their own parents. There's even spiritual books that the prophecies that are being fulfilled, not because I believe that they're being fulfilled, but it sure did make sense according to what is being manifested in the world. There are believers and disbelievers. That's the DUAT. Are you accepting the fact that there's dualism in your life? And that, because if you don't, then you also are not accepting the fact that there's degrees to what side of the pole your view is on. Your habits influence. Are your habits that make peace, or your habits that makes chaos? Do you vibrate love or hate? Do you have anxiousness or contentness? This is what I wonder, and I ponder, and I realize I'm not alone. And this is vitally important. How can you be preparing for the challenges and opportunities of your life personally, and contributing to the better of the world, if you claim that you are, and you believe that you are of peace and love? of good fortune, you bring value to other people's lives. If you take not the time out to recognize these principles in play in your personal life, the DUAT was spoken of in the most ancient and the first civilization on earth, which is ancient Kemet, which is in what is now called Egypt, which is in now known as Africa, the only continent that is still connected to the center of the earth. All the other continents drift, all the other land masses drift. And so it has all the resources abundant. But isn't it awful how those forces that rule the world keep it destabilized and keep the people who are indigenous there downtrodden and in mayhem, in poverty, in sickness and virus and disease and unhealthiness? Deep polarization like none other place on earth is in Africa, to the side of where suffering would be. This is what's promoted, but yet I lived in Africa. I studied political science in Africa, yet I'm from this little city town called San Bernardino that no one is ever supposed to be and do anything significant. That's the DUAT in play. That I was always supposed to be down. So I was naturally just like them. African and poor, but African in America, brought here long ago through slavery. Through this destiny. Oh, there's those that are Moors that don't know you are already here. But I know actually through tracing and knowing my family line that, yeah, we did come over here on slave ships, some of us. And yeah, I'm sure I know my American Native ancestors were here already. But my African side must be recognized, even if my Moorish side is recognized. I'm gonna tell you this, the DUAT and play on different levels of our life, and World War III is here. We're here, we're looking at a transformation. We're looking at this spiritual transformation. I'm not telling you that, or that this big calamity of war, or these aliens are gonna come out the sky. That's the DUAT. They're playing on the DUAT, the informers, the educators, the miseducators, the misinformers, with the corporate media, those that even use the alternative media for the wrong reasons, because they want to get money from their YouTube accounts and from their Facebook accounts. They get money because they get so many of you on there, and you listen to me, you went for it, and now nobody wants to listen anymore. Because you saw the DUAT and play, but you subconsciously you rejected it and left it. Now you don't want to think about it. It's like someone, I don't believe in God, I don't believe in religion, because my mom and daddy, all they did was religion. My whole family was religion. They just control freaks, hypocrite control freaks, hypocrite control freaks, hypocrite control freaks. So now you don't want to think about whether you believe in God or religion, and now all you care about is money. And those are the ultimate sellouts of the cause of people leaving poverty or having wealth. That's the DUAT. Poverty, wealth, that's the DUAT. Believing, being a believer, believing in the spirit or a higher power, versus those that are religious and control free, and hypocritical, judgmental, deceitful, misinformers, control freaks, versus those that are spiritual and devotees, those that are spiritual, living compassion and love, giving compassion and love, vibrating compassion and love. This is the DUAT. You can't escape the DUAT, and it's vitally important for me to get this through your head.
News No, where truth is authority, with David Dimitri Dawuda Asaru, reminding y'all, reflect and represent.
You better back the fuck up. Move back, motherfuckers. The Onyx is here. Back the fuck up. Back the fuck up. Move back, motherfuckers. The Onyx is here.
That you must observe the DUAT in all its play, because you can't escape it. In Hinduism, they call it, it's dancing with Shiva, living with Shiva, merging with Shiva. Oh, the DUAT, Amen Pata. Oh yeah, unto the Jedu. We must evolve ourselves, and this is the DUAT in play. If you die, then you're not living. That's the DUAT in play. Not existing any longer versus existing. It's the DUAT in play. So, coming into this talk on these other levels, we must realize the beginning was the beginning of the DUAT. From darkness came light. Let's not be buffoons. White light didn't create darkness. From darkness came light. And all of it is a reflection and it all complements each other. But yet the world, because it's a DUAT, the lies were given to the human race. That they should fight over skin color, over wealth and poor, over I'm hungry and you have. I have and you should be hungry. Things went regressive. That's the DUAT versus progressive. Things went unhealthy versus healthy. Dysfunctional versus functional. That's all the DUAT. You think all these things are different? No, they're all just the DUAT. The DUAT. We can't escape this. Well, we live in time. Wisdom revolves around us. You don't have to search for wisdom. Are you okay? Are you alright? Stop mimicking people. Monkey see, monkey do versus those that are genuine and creative. That's the DUAT in play. And so on that level, I just wanted to, the inner self, the outer self, that's the DUAT. The daytime, the nighttime, that's the DUAT. And so this is vitally important, but remember the pendulum swings. One wins, the other loses, then the other, those lose, and then they win, and then time is just something we live in. It's the measurement of travel, it's the measurement of existence, with experiencing. How long did you experience this? Whatever this is, or that, whatever that is. But it's still the DUAT. On all these different levels, the DUAT is in play. We're living in dualism. We're living in the different variations. Oh, you like this type of food, that different food. You're not eating any different tasting food. It's either salt, sour, or sweet sugar. It's different variations of it. Different levels of it. You get it? Then you have the spices, which is salt or sour. The fire. But the DUAT's in play. And so this is the thing I want you to realize. That in coming into this different time, that we are in threat. But what's really at threat? And here's the DUAT in play. Is it that those that run the system and their evil that they're doing is coming to an end because their energy source, the oil, is running out? That's the DUAT. Peak oil 1970s, the DUAT. This is 2017. Are we stupid? It's the DUAT. Or is it that they're going to finally genocide off the black people and the bees? So you think you can kill off the bees and the black people? Or those of you that believe nuclear war is so real that we have a threat of nuclear war, and that Bob Marley and the Rasta said it, you can't fear nuclear war. That's just the DUAT in play. People playing, deceiving the minds of other people, using the DUAT. You're scared. You're scared they have so much power, so you'll never uplift and fight. You never join together and fight because you're scared they can obliterate you. Then you scared you die and don't exist. Energy never dies. So you say, I'm not gonna die. So I won't risk my life for this cause. Because in pleasure seeking and pleasure living is more important than being a devotee and sacrificial. And being a martyr. That's the DUAT in play. Are you going to be sacrificial, devotee, fulfill that type of destiny against all odds, or are you about pleasure seeking? And then there's a different variations of the DUAT on a different level. I'm going to balance it until I pass on out of this world. And this is what I'm discussing. This is what I'm bringing to your attention. That no one wants to recognize that needs to be realized in this metaphysical reality we living in.
Soul Ties Karmic Recall. STKR. Author David Dimitri. Book series and video cast on YouTube. Soul Ties Karmic Recall. Get your metaphysical game on intimate relationships and life.
So let's look at the historical manifestation. If we went back in time to the very existence and creation, that spark, that all-spark that created the first light out of the darkness, triple darkness, black light. It wasn't white light first. Yes. And so we look at history. Let's look at Earth. Was it always dualistic? It had to be on a level. Yet we look at this teaching that there was a Pangea and the most of the land masses was one. Obviously the center would have to be what is called Africa now, because it's the only part that is still connected to the center of the earth, going into the ocean, into the core of the earth. All others had to dispatch from that. That's the evidence that Pangea was real. Did you know that? So keep that in mind. Let's perhaps ponder, how could our reality have become clear in this 2017 if we look back just to 1900s, 1800s, 1700s, 1600s, 1500s, 1400s, all the way back to zero. And according to whose calendar? European, Western Europeans period, Western civilization period is called that. It's an English word, English language coming from European. Their count of their existence as a personified, successful civilization. That goes back to what date? They said time of Christ. Yahushua ben Nosaphat of Israel, which is in Africa. Why do we know that? Because what the word in turn, Middle East, even though there's no Middle West, there's no Middle North, there's no Middle South. Middle East is a invented a term after World War I by the League of Nations because they found oil and they wanted it to be, they knew that's the energy source they're going to use to kick off there and take their industrial age developments in civilization to a level unparalleled before. So go back in time, that is a precursor. That's a postcursor to the precursor. The precursor is when the European Romans took over Africa. That wasn't in the 1700s with colonialism. No, that's way late. It first started. It didn't first start, but it was a first pronouncing of it when they put Jesus Christ to death. That's what they call him. But according to the Amharic, he's the Amharic Ethiopian language, Yahushua ben Nosaphat, Isa. That's the starting of that zero. We're in 2017. It's been 2017 years since Jesus was put to death or born. You getting it? They went, they conquered Roman Empire. Jesus spoke of Caesar, all about war, going out and conquering, taking over everything he could, even putting his name on that coin. That evil already existed. It already existed before that man, Yehoshua, Jesus was born, if the man ever even existed. And this goes back to the DUAT. For me to question his existence, because either he existed or he didn't. That's polarization, right? Dualism. DUAT means dualism. So we're looking at on the pole, he exists or he didn't. So that's psychological. So we're looking at the time, the European time scale. I say going back to Pangea, the precursor to all of that, what made that landmass break apart? It could not, because the landmass only broke apart. It had to be other forces that caused that to happen.
Peace, hotel, shalom, one love. It's the Metaphysical Life Coaching and Guidance Counseling, the MLCGC video tutorial series. These tutorials are designed specially for teenagers and young adults. Creator and lead practitioner David Dimitri Johnson, also known as Dahuda Yashma Saru, David Dimitri PUD on Facebook, Yashma Zero on Instagram.
And was it an overnight bam, boom, bam? No. Everything's incremental in all the DUAT, in all physics. The DUAT is also not only dualism, it's the physical world. Physics, when you study physics in college, mathematical reality, scientific, metaphysical. So we look at the interdimensional sense of it. There had to be interdimensional invasion. There was a spiritual war, an energy war. Everything's energy. Everything's energy. This energy wanted this energy. And it wanted to take over this energy because it needed it. Interdimensional raiders, interdimensional parasites. So to say, compared to what a human is, immortals that don't live or die. They live on a different plane of existence, but can take form. They can transmute some of their consciousness to fulfill agendas into physical, spatio-temporal, sentient beings. In other words, possess your ass. Come into you like a demon or a ghost or a spirit and have you do the evil it needs it to do. The only reason it's evil because it harms those that call it evil. So what I'm saying, interdimensional beings came here, whether you want to call them aliens on a spaceship or interdimensional, a wormhole, a stargate came. There were some energy entities, wave function entities that came into this DUAT. They created a DUAT level that had never been paralleled on this planet. Their existence. We don't have to go to agenda. We don't have to think about the actions. We can. But we have to just know their energy itself is like a butterfly effect. It's like throwing a piece of the little piece of hair fall into the river, the lake, and it made a flow, a vibration that was felt, that made the mosquito on the other 2 miles across the lake fly off once it felt it. Just off of a piece of my hair. This is how the world, energy itself, the atmosphere, the vibration, and you're thinking in terms of Einstein and his string theory and these theories of the vibrations and how it flows, which debunked gravity idea, the original idea of Newton and how gravity was. Einstein debunked it, proven mathematically, with what now called the string theory and the wave theories. And we have to realize what happened is these wave function entities came into this in what's called time, incrementally broke things apart, caused a split that had never been before, light. And so now we even got the history of the dinosaurs and all these different beings. Do you really think that could have happened? Well, if it did, why would you be such of a limited viewpoint and thinker that you would think only the reptiles died off and only reptiles lived here? That's buffoonery. That is limiting. So many different species of even intelligent, technological, sentient beings had to be killed off of this planet in the local solar system, as it's called, that we couldn't even fathom the civilizations. We would have to go into the earth in its different layers and see. And it could be that some of them are still alive in the earth, under the water. You see, we get into this dualical thinking, this dualism thinking, this hypothetical could be, but it's always, whether it's physically proved through physics and science, common sense, reality, historical is like common sense, right? And then, or if it's just hypothetical. Interdimensional, parasitical beings have taken over this world. And this is, so to say, that they're dictating the history and the outcomes continually. And that's what seems to be happening on this planet.
Firm Up International, no limits, no chill.
Social media not just for the masses, paying the masses. You see, social media is worth billions. If you hit, it's billions. Stock options for all and any members.
Firm Up International, no limits.
Now that goes into the terms and the thought of the so-called, what they call the sun, in the holographic reality. Interdimensional holographic reality. Then we looking at down to earth, World War I, World War II. But that was karma. The big boys wanted to fight each other because I'm France, well I'm Germany. I'm Prussia, Russia. I'm Germany, I'm Prussia, I'm Russia. I'm Britain. UK. You getting it? And why? Because they went around the world and colonized. But where's the karma? Karma is about the DUAT, dualism. Why? Because karma is about what goes around, comes around, goes back. That you attract, you reflect. That you reflect, you attract. That you reflect, you attract. They went around the world since the time of Jesus, destroying everyone. Literally destroying them. We're so far into the future that we don't even realize how many swords been through babies and how many knives in the name of Jesus Christ. In the name of Allah. How many heads were smashed? How many Africans were enslaved by Christians and Muslim Arabs and whites and Persians? But yet the karma seems to come. And how many Japanese went around all of the Pacific Islands in China for 1,000 years at least, slaughtering, enslaving people. But then once the nuclear bomb hit Japan, we have to feel sorry because it's terrible, yes. But we have to see the DUAT and the dualism in play, the karma in play. Oh, these Arabs are being destroyed. Oh, yes, they are. I'm so sorry. I am. It's the people, this Arabs from Palestine that bought the lighting for this equipment. They devoted it to me. They believe in me. They care for me. And you know what? I'm grateful. Yet we have to realize Arabs enslaved blacks for 1,500 years. And nothing's never supposed to happen to you. You wouldn't even allow them. And Arabs invented the mental slavery tactics that whites used through Christianity, enslaving the same Africans 1,000 years later. And now you see what happened with World War II was the same thing that's happening with this karma that came on Japan, this karma that came onto the Arabs, the karma came on the whites. No one was bigger and badder than them. So they turned on each other and almost wiped each other off the planet and the rest of us with them. But guess what? The karma's not done. It only got worse. The potential's greater. You love this technology. You're sitting here watching and listening to me say this, but I'm telling you, the dualism is in play. The karma, what goes around comes around, is in play.
Firm Up International. No limits, no chill.
Social media not just for the masses, paying the masses. You see, social media is worth billions. If you hit, it's billions. Stock options for all and any members.
Firm Up International. No limits.
How Pangea was broke apart, that was a cataclysm. And it could not just have been by nature or our planet, because it travels. Even the sun that we so-called circumference, it travels. It could not just be the fact that they went through a huge asteroid, because our sun is our defender. We follow it as it travels. And we spin around it. So it would have already had wiped away anything that would have hit us. It would have burnt it apart. It wouldn't have hit us. It had to be sentient beings at war with each other, spiritual sentient beings, and potentially with technology, just like the Vedas teach, the Hindu Vedas, of how the great wars of Shiva and Siva, how they fought, and Krishna, and they destroyed with these spaceships basically. But that's the DUAT in play, the dualism. This is what we're facing. It keeps repeating itself. This is the DUAT is about karma. In Kemet, it's called DUAT. Dualism is the reality we live in, and it's dualism. And in the Hindus, they call it karma. But those that preceded them called the Kemetics in ancient Egypt that created them pyramids and all that, civilization in Nubia. They call it Dakar. Karma is Dakar. This is what's coming. And this is the vital importance of what I'm trying to tell you. If you ignore geology and all the archaeological signs and all the historical facts, that how long do you think the United Nations is going to be able to hold up in this so-called capitalism, which is funded and empowered by the use of petroleum? Petrodollar is ending. The petrodollar is ending. because peak oil ended in 75. The karma's coming back. Remember, the Europeans were untouchable. They had all the colonies. They had takeover. They had evolved technology. They had did great things. And their Greek people would be proud of them. Their Roman preceders would be proud of them. But guess who destroyed them? Themselves. So let's go back. Let's look at what could be about to happen. 2017. World War III is the potential, right? Economic crash. Transformation of life through entropy of war, suffering, destruction. Viruses invented in laboratories can be unleashed. HIV was invented in a laboratory. Let's not be fooled. Genetic eugenics. Technology here to distract us, mind control us. Well, let's look at something. Those wave function entities came, waged war. After the war, the Ice Age came, right? Well, what caused it? All this is DUAT, all this is speculative. But let's look at now, where can we be in this manifestation of what goes around, comes around, of what starts will continue until something stops it. Where are we in this cycle of things? I say that we're toward that destruction, right? But why only look at it that way? Also a spiritual evolution. Why? Because we really don't die. We evolve. And we don't have to always evolve and reincarnate on another planet. We can bring that power, spiritual powerfulness here.
Truth is Authority with David Dimitri Dauda Asaru, reminding y'all, reflect and represent.